finish what you were saying.
Yes, I mean, I think that first bit was recorded anyway, so it'll just have to come in 2 bits maybe. But I was just talking about awareness, really, the role that there's a role of awareness, forgetting and remembering. Hello, Ambika Ben, I'm Shandy. The electricity went down on our road, so apologies for that. So today's chit chat will probably be in 2 parts, but that's okay. So I was just finishing this point about Shiv Baba saying that the main difference between us and him is his birth is different and he doesn't die. And so we've got now this opportunity to listen to a soul with unbroken awareness. So I've just been enjoying that point in my yoga as well. And when I'm listening to the morally, this unbroken awareness. And if we think that for Shiv Baba, he doesn't come into happiness and sorrow. So again, it's fixed within this drama that everyone gets happiness and sorrow. He was saying to us today that if you come at the beginning of the cycle, you get the most happiness because you experience civilization at its optimum. But then you have the longest period in the Copper and Iron Age. So you then have to pass through the longest period of sorrow. That's then fixed in the drama. It's not a choice. You're going to have some births of failure, some births, you might have disabilities, you might have tragedies, you might have traumas. We can't avoid these things. Whereas Shiv Baba, he doesn't come into happiness and sorrow. So for him to have continuous awareness is not damaging. But for us, imagine you could remember all of the sorrows you've witnessed for thousands of years. Even one birth's trauma can be overwhelming. And imagine you couldn't move on. Imagine you could remember all of your mistakes for 63 births. How do you have a fresh start? How do you have a new chance? So this is very interesting distinction and this role of awareness and connection with death and birth that we have, which is important for us. But Shiv Baba, for his role, it's important he doesn't have that. So those are my thoughts. This is why I said to you, I think I'm leaving you with more questions rather than answers. So Maria Ben, would you like to come in?
Shanti. As I was saying, everyone will be having a long weekend, at least in Italy. And my one thing I can remember about the confluence age is that it's the diamond age. And Daddy keeps saying, make use of every minute or second because it is equal to 1 year. So I consider it an age of miracles. Anything is possible, nothing is impossible. And so whatever I've been in the past, now is the time. Now is the golden powerful power second. Anything can happen. So whatever I may have been, so Baba keeps saying, past is past. I love you for the way you are. I've chosen you for the way you are. We could have been, who knows what we could have been, no? And he always says Brahmins are more elevated than the deities. And then he says, this is the only time you can speak with me. You won't know me in paradise. So having this feeling, it makes you feel so lucky, just lucky to be who you are. And so anything's possible. So this is golden, magical, golden age. For me, it's no more than a golden age, it's diamond age. Om Shanti. Om Shanti with Ranjan Ben.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
yeah, it's this access to God, isn't it? So again, at Confluence Age, Shibaba's playing his role. So it's a whole new dynamic. And this, see, a lot of this cycle is to do with the light of the Brahmin souls, see, so of the ancestors. That when you are at your full brightness, this world has light. So Baba always calls the Brahmins the stars of the world. And Mama and Baba, they're like the sun and the moon, or Shiv Baba, Brahma Baba, they're like the sun and the moon. But, you know, you are the stars, and a lot of navigation happens through stars. Nowadays we use satellites, but for centuries, like for example, how did the Europeans, the Netherlands was the first main country to develop these very long, fast ships that could go further. And it was based on the technology for glasses, for spectacles, because suddenly the sailors could create a telescope that can see the stars more clearly. So then they could travel further. And that's how shipping spread. Otherwise, you could only go more locally through ships. But to go across vast oceans, you need the stars. You need to be able to see much more clearly. So I think there's an argument to say, like Ambika Ben also said this, it's only the ancestor souls that really can shape for themselves, but also you shape everyone else's cycle. So Brahma, I think, shapes it for us. Brahma and Saraswati, they shape it for us. But then I think we also shape. So for the Brahmins to lose their light of purity, that double crown, we had that morally the other week. Your eyes should become like light bulbs. Your forehead should have the star of light. You should have your double crown back again. For the Brahmin souls to lose that light means the world goes dark. So, as you're saying, this is a very, like Baba restoring us back to that divinity is very, very significant for the world. Thank you, sister. So, would anyone else like to comment? I'm aware I've just left you with questions, so no answers today.
Just remember, Shailen Ben, that Galileo made the first telescope or microscope.
He advanced it. I think there were ones prior to that who were like his predecessors.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but Galileo is one of the most important souls in us moving from blind faith to some understanding. Absolutely. So, and also his pictures, I saw some of his pictures of the moon from his telescope, and I took hand-drawn sketches. I tell you, it's like photographs of today's telescope. Amazing. Da Vinci was also like this. So, you know how they did that. But prior to him was someone called Copernicus, lived 300 years before him. He was a Dutch German.
Okay.
And he was the first one who spotted that we go around the sun. But he was so afraid of the church, he only published his book on the day he was going to die. So, yeah, but it's all to do with eyes. I was mentioning the other day, we're the only animal, if I use that phrase from science, that uses the eyes to understand the world. All the other animals, they use their nose. So if you walk on this earth, all the other animals mainly use their nose. But for human beings, the eyes are the key sense organ. And so Baba also focuses on that. So that leads us nicely to what Baba was telling us this morning about seeing the point form, packing up, the expansion of relationships and seeing the brother soul. On Thursday, Baba was saying to us that children, be a detached observer and be a point. This is your main practice now. This is what's needed. Take yourself away from the sanskars of expanding everything and take yourself back into the essence. And there are, in this week, Baba's been talking about how it's not Krishna speaking to Arjun, the Gita, but it's Shiv Baba coming into the body of Brahma, and Brahma is Arjun. There are two stories related to Arjun, which are linked with the point form. One is when the Pandavas were boys, and the name of their teacher was Drona. He was the teacher of the princes, the guru of the princes. And one day, Drona was teaching them archery and aiming. So he gave each of the 5 boys had to pick up the bow and arrow and aim at a bird in the tree without firing the arrow, just taking the aim. So the youngest brother, his name was Sadev, he picked it up and the teacher asks, "What do you see, Sadev?" He said, "Well, I can see the tree, I can see the branches, and I can see the bird sitting on the branch." And the teacher goes, "Okay, now Knuckle, you come and take the bow and arrow." So he does that. "What do you see?" "I can see the branch and the bird." "Okay." And then Beam, you come. And Beam takes up. "Beam, what do you see?" "I can only see the bird. I'm focused on just the bird." I said, "Okay." And then Yudhishthir, you come. So Yudhishthir, the eldest brother, he takes aim. "What do you see, Yudhishthir?" "I can just see the head of the bird and the eye of the bird." "Okay." "Arjun, you come now. What do you see?" And Arjun says, "I can see the point in the pupil of the eye of the bird." And so the teacher said, this is what it means to have focus. When you're aiming, don't see the expansion. See the point. Look at the point. Talk to the point. And then when the Pandavas were older, they'd become adults. One of the great kings was King Drupad. And his daughter Draupadi, she was to be married. And she was sought after by all of the princes in the kingdom. And of course, everyone wants to make this alliance with a great king. So Drupad, he created a test to see who would be worthy. And these tests are usually warrior type tests. They have a similar story for Sita in the Ramayana. And this is for Draupadi in the Mahabharata. And the test is it's better than the one for Sita, actually. It's a more interesting one. So what he did was he attached a picture of a fish, or maybe it was it must have been a picture of a fish to the ceiling. And it was on a rotating platform. And this platform was rotating quickly. So the fish is rotating quickly. And then he had a pool of water down here. And the warriors had to look down at the pool, up at this rotating platform. And whoever could hit the eye, so you had to aim upwards while looking down, and whoever could hit the eye would get the hand of the princess. So Arjun was the only one that could do this. So Baba said to us on Thursday, children, become a detached observer. So that's symbolized by the story of the pool. Arjun was able to look down below and aim up above. So Baba says, children, become a karma yogi. Be in actions, be in relationships, but your heart, your mind should be up above with the point. Be with Shiv Baba. And the story from the childhood is to do with the vision of brotherhood. Don't see the tree and the branch and the body. But what did Baba say to us? Children, just learn how to relate to your brother soul, the point. Back up from all of the expansion of relations. You see the body, then you're into your old sanskars because you've got memories, you've got familiarities, you've got all sorts of other things. But you need to just be like Arjun, just see the point of the eye. So I'm going to hand over to Ranjan now to read one of those seminal Muralis that all Brahmins need to read several times. So I'll put a copy up also in the WhatsApp group afterwards.
Om Shanti, good morning to all. Well, it's good afternoon now. This is Avyakt Bhaktada, and date is 19th July, 1969, 1907, 1969. And Baba says, become zero and hero. Why have you called Baba today? Baba started with question already. Why have you called Baba today? I don't know what you are thinking, but in the bracket, the children in front of him must have said, in order to make us powerful. Bapdada said, if you have called Baba to make you powerful, in what aspect do you feel there is a lack of power? In which special aspect do you wish to be made powerful? How will you make service powerful? You have to check how powerful you have made yourself. All of you are called Shiv Shaktis. So, do the Shaktis already have power, or are they still becoming the embodiment of power? Bap Dada has come to see which ornaments are ready to decorate Bap Dada's world. Means the future world, and also, but future world, Satyu. So Baba is looking to see. So which ones are ready? Now the ornaments are ready. But what happens to that which is ready? Even the goldsmith first prepares the set of gold chain or necklace or everything, and then puts the diamonds, studs it, and then polishes. So this is what Baba is saying to us, asking us, are we ready up to this extent that now Baba can decorate? This is what Baba means here. And then listen carefully what remains to be polished. So what stage Baba would like us to be so that he can decorate his world, Bapdada's world, he said. Baba says, now the ornaments are ready. But what happens to which is ready? It is then polished. Now, it just remains to be polished. The main thing that has to be polished is just this. Everyone has to create extra time for staying in the avyakt stage for a longer period. Only the polish of the avyakt stage now remains. Did you catch it? Yeah? What is to be polished? Baba has given us so much time for tapasya, and this is the stage he would like us to reach by now. And so Baba can polish. It's the avyakt stage for a long period. Only the polish of the avyakt stage now remains. Whilst talking to one another, see each other as souls. So you heard the Murli this morning, and you know how many times Baba reminded us about I, the soul, and my brother's soul. So Baba is reminding us now again, whilst talking to one another, see each other as souls. Whilst being in the body, see the soul. This is the first lesson, which is now essential. In order to put all the things of the dharna that you have heard about in your life, you have to make this first lesson firm. So, did you underline that? Yeah? Did you catch it? In order to put all the things of dharna, you know, children often ask, Baba, how can I have dharna? How can I have dharna? Baba has made it easy. Last week also, Baba in the Amrit Vela Murli made a lot of things easy for us, gave us a lot of shortcuts, and now today also, Baba is underlining that in order to put all the things of dharna that you have heard about in your life, into your life, you have to make this first lesson firm. This practical stage of the vision of soul consciousness is still lacking. For greater success in service, the main method is just this: to do service in soul consciousness. Yeah, you just heard about that example of eye of a fish, about Mahabharata, and Arjuna only succeeded because of that. He had a long practice of being soul conscious, whereas Bapdada gave us the result that the practical stage of the vision of soul consciousness is still lacking. For greater success in service, the main method is just this: to do service in soul consciousness. The first lesson has to be polished. This is essential. Have you ever noted for how long you maintain the vision and awareness of soul consciousness throughout the day? So, Baba is drawing our attention to check for ourselves. Have you ever noted for how long you maintain the vision and awareness of soul consciousness throughout the day? You can perceive the result of this stage through the result of your service. This stage is like a flame. Moths are drawn to a flame against their conscious wish. So Baba is saying moths are drawn to a flame against their conscious wish. All of you are teachers. But what else have you come to become in this bhatti? So teachers from all over India had gone to Madhuban for bhatti. And so Baba is asking, Bap Dada are asking, but what else have you come to become in this bhatti? Then probably the teachers took too long to answer. And so Baba is saying, all of you think too much, but it is very easy. You have been called here to make you the same as Baba is. Bap Saman, equal to the Father. You have been called here to make you the same as Baba is. To make you the same as Baba means to make you into, do you remember what Baba said? Become zero and hero. So Baba has to make you the same as Baba means to make you into a zero. A seed and a point are included in a zero. And together with that, when any task is carried out, you have to add a zero after. So you have been called here specially to be reminded of a zero. If you remember last week, Baba said that sometimes you do service and then you talk too much, you describe and talk about it. But Baba here says, just give it to Baba, surrender it totally, so that Maya doesn't make you arrogant and cause you loss to your earnings. So that's why Baba is saying, and together with point and seed, which are included in a zero, and together with that, when any task is carried out, you have to add a zero after, means you put a full stop and move forward. So you have been called here, especially to be reminded of a zero. Today, Sakar Muli, even if you give anything for the yagya, then no thoughts about it at all. Remember, Baba mentioned that today. Because then more you think, Mama always said, even one thought, you lose some of the fortune. And then more you think, then you lose even more of the benefit of the charitable act, the result, the return of that act. So Baba is saying, so you have been called here, especially to be reminded of a zero. The form of a teacher is large, but Baba has come to make you very small from being large. The smallest form of all is the form of the Father and of yourself. So when you remember the zero, you will become, the rhyming word is a hero. A hero is an actor as well as someone loved by Bap Dada. A diamond in Hindi is called a hero, and a main actor is called a hero. So two meanings. In Hindi, it's a diamond, which is a gem, a precious gem. And the main actor is called a hero. So now, do you understand why you have been called here? You have been called here to remember just two words. Of course, you know by now, zero and hero. If you remember these two words, you will become complete with all virtues like the Father. All expansion can be merged. Bap Dada is telling you about the expansion in its seed form. You may forget everything else, but you cannot forget this. Remember just this, and then see how quickly there is a change in service. It is the desire of all of you to change, and also for the time to change, so you can return to your home. Since you have the desire to return home, remember these two things. And then, instead of the weaknesses, you will show wonders. The weaknesses will finish, and wherever you look and whatever you hear, you will only see wonders. So now, what will you return as from this bhakti? A zero? There is nothing associated with a zero. There are no sanskars of the past. You came here to renounce something. So have you completely renounced it? Or are you still taking a little of it with you?
I think that's a really helpful definition.
Yeah.
A zero means no association. So when with soul consciousness, there's no association with anything else or anyone else. When we're in body consciousness, we are defining ourselves in association with someone or something. So in my bodily identity, I would introduce myself in relation to my mother, in relation to my work, in relation to my education, etc. So in body consciousness, our identity is formed by association. And we can be afraid because we're so used to defining ourselves like that. When Baba says be a zero, we feel like we're becoming nothing. But Baba's saying actually, the more that you practice being the zero, the more full you will become. So it's not really true that you become nothing, but you become actually something more powerful. But our sanskars of body consciousness will tell us the more associations we have, the more powerful we are, the more happy we are, the more comfortable we are. So this is a really helpful definition. So the hero means no associations. There are no old sanskars. Yeah. Awareness also it comes in that, no old awarenesses.
And now this, and then the benefit of practicing this, I think the next sentence, that paragraph, is Baba is pointing out to the benefit. If you listen carefully, I just read again, and I remember reading in Hindi, and it is awesome. And then, instead of the weaknesses, so Baba says, since you have the desire to return home, remember these two things, hero and zero, zero and hero. And then, instead of the weaknesses, you will show wonders. Kamal, Kamal करके दिखाएंगे in Hindi, Kamal. Wonders is Kamal. The weaknesses will finish, and wherever you look and whatever you hear, you will only see wonders. Means in Hindi, I remember this Muli Baba said, this whatever you see, or it's like upheaval and chaos outside. Dhamal will change into Kamal. Baba rhymes with. Means you won't notice any outside upheaval or chaos or anything or noises, whatever. So this is what Baba means. Instead, you will say, oh, wow, it's a Kamal. You'll see the praise of Baba and your stage and going home with that happiness. So, and then instead of the weaknesses, you will show wonders. The weaknesses will finish, and wherever you look and whatever you hear, you will only see wonders. So now, what will you return as from this bhakti? A zero. There is nothing associated with a zero. There are no sanskars of the past. You came here to renounce something. So have you completely renounced it, or are you still taking a little of it with you? So this is another checking point. Baba pointed at us, reminded to check, subtle checking. Because have you, this morning, Murli, have you kept something aside for the rainy days? So in order to become complete. So Baba says, completely renounced it, or are you still taking a little of it with you? What have you renounced, and to what extent have you renounced it? You also have to see whether you have renounced it temporarily or permanently. Have you renounced it through the power of the gathering or with your own power? The power of the gathering gives you support. But, Baba says, but you also need your own power as well as the power of the gathering. Whatever you have renounced at any time, let it be renounced permanently. Bap Dada has love for all of you anyway, because the Father is getting his work done with the help of you children, and those who are helpers in a task are always loved. But in some cases, together with being helpers, you are not courageous. You lose courage. If you maintain courage, you will definitely receive help. So, as well as being helpers, you must also be courageous. Do not lose courage in little matters. When you are courageous, the desires of all of you will be fulfilled. Now, courage is needed. How will you develop courage? By surrendering yourself at every moment. Baba has said every moment. At every step, in every thought. So every moment, every step, in every thought. Those who surrender themselves have greater courage. And so, the more you surrender yourselves, the more you will come close in the garland around Baba's neck. You now surrender yourself, and then you will become a garland around God's neck. If you surrender yourself and then perform actions, you will make others surrender. They are the ones who are called heirs. So now make plans to create heirs. Acha, Om Shanti. Yes, and this Murli sums up all the Sakar Murlis we have heard throughout this week, and especially yesterday, today. And Baba said that children should take first step of courage, and Baba will run and help multi-billion fold. And Baba reminded us the Padam, the what is this? Sunflower, Padam, no, lotus flower. Lotus flower that is Baba's Srimat. And if we go with Baba and follow the Srimat, keeping courage and surrendering, then that's why every step we take, Baba will fill us with multi-million fold. Baba said we will earn multi-millions. So if we follow Baba's and we keep Padam, and all these are memorial of us, in Hindu Bhakti, the lotus flower is with its seeds, and they eat lotus, and see how many uses lotus flower has. And so a lot of things from lotus flower are used. They don't understand the meaning. Baba has makes us understand, gives us the explanation what each one importance is, and is our memorial. And so if we take this courage and surrender, like Baba said, if you surrender yourself and then perform actions, you will make others surrender. So Baba would like us to serve others and and create heirs. So now make plans to create heirs. And so Baba says, make the renunciation of yourself first permanently. So checking points, I think so. This lovely Murli. And in order to become Baba's God, to come right close to Baba, this is a nice method to inculcate what Baba says. And then we can surrender others, make others into heirs. So that's what I said. So in order to have a higher status, but at this time to be with Baba, to be nearer Baba, closer to Baba, Baba has shown us lots of methods of Shanti. Thank you.
Would anyone like to come in and make some comments, or share your reflection?
Shanti.
Shit.
The Murli today is really specific to what we were discussing as well, and for what Baba has been telling us for the past couple of weeks, to be soul conscious, forget everything, and just serve as a detached person, just knowing that you're here as a soul to perform actions in an elevated form. Only at this time, now that we know Baba, we know what we are about, who we are, and how we are supposed to be conducting our lives at this point in time, just to follow Baba. And this is the only time that we know exactly who we are and what we need to do. And that's what I'm taking from this Murli, which is really very nice. Shanti.
Shanti, thank you. Would anyone else like to come in and share their reflections?
Yeah, this Murli is to be reread, and then it's been done on the year in which Baba left, 1969.
That's right. Yeah, it almost exactly at the time when astronauts were going to the moon, and Baba taking us up into the zero. So you've got science taking people up to the moon. And Baba saying, why have you called me down here? And the only reason I'm coming down here is to take you back up with me. And how are you going to go back up with me? You can only go as a point. You have to become like me. So I very much appreciated this concept of the zero. And as I was saying, that in body consciousness, we think more is more. But in soul consciousness, less is more. So Baba is saying that by being the zero, you become the hero. And he was explaining to us that in Hindi, the word hero can mean a diamond and also the hero actor in a drama. So it's interesting, isn't it, that Baba is saying you become a hero actor through your being, through being a zero, not through doing. And again, it's challenging all of our old sanskars because we think we've got to do something, we've got to say something, we've got to achieve something in order to be considered a hero actor. And Baba is saying, actually, the more that you become a zero, the more you're a hero. And the more that you see the zero, the service will continue to expand. So he was talking to, like, Sister Jayanti became a teacher, Sister Meera, Sister Shilu. They were all the teachers of 1968. And so this sounds like he's called them like that sort of age of teacher. They would have been about 20 years old, 21 years old. And maybe Daddy Prakashmani and Didi, they thought, let's do a retreat in Madhuban. So Baba was saying that, what's left for you to do in your service? How are you going to make things expand? And so he was telling them at that time, and it's a clear signal for us that Brahmins often think, how do we make service expand? And Baba is saying, not by expanding yourself, by making yourself more essential, service will expand. Would anyone else like to come in and share anything?
I really like that this is for say like a slogan, the zero and the hero. And that, Baba is saying that is the Avyak stage is what will also do that service. And to become Avyak, you really have to be a zero. All the distractions that are there and the analogies you gave with the stories is that you have to focus, or we have to focus. What is the aim? What is the aim? To become Karmatit. And that's how we will become hero. Like at the end of a play, the hero is the one that is given the most recognition. You have the villain as well, but the hero is the one that the good feelings, the good wishes come towards. So my part at this confluence age is to be that hero, that Maya will be there. Baba never denies that Maya is going to come, which is a villain, and it's how to conquer that villain, to become victorious. So to become the hero is, Baba is also saying, to be victorious, and that's where we need the courage. And Baba is there every step. Baba gives multi-million-fold help. So it's a focus on becoming, being and staying the hero throughout the drama, but it's throughout this time at confluence age to be that actor within the drama to come. Om Shanti.
Thank you. It's amazing how little Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba say and do, but yet they achieve so much. Shiv Baba is very essential, isn't he? Very precise. And he doesn't think he needs to run around in this world all the time and do lots of things. He transforms by being the point, remaining the point. And Brahma Baba's process started off with soul consciousness. And Daddy Brajendra, who was Brahma Baba's daughter-in-law, she used to share that Brahma Baba used to sit with a diary, a book and a pen. And she saw it a few times that he was just writing, I am a soul. I am a soul. And then there would be pages where he's writing about his wife, Jashoda Mother. Jashoda is a soul. Jashoda is a soul. And then about his son, his younger son, his name was Narayan. Narayan is a soul. And there were pages and pages. He just sat reaffirming this, I'm the soul. And then as we know, the daddies began to have visions. So I was saying that if you affirm that you're a zero, service will expand. And then the final part of Brahma, Shiv Baba has taken this up in a few Avyak moral leaves, that it was destined in the drama that Brahma would leave on the 18th of January because the Gita has 18 chapters. And Brahma completed his 18th chapter. And Shiv Baba says that the first chapter of the Gita is about becoming bodily. And the 18th chapter is about being the conqueror, the destroyer of attachment, and the embodiment of awareness. And so Shiv Baba says that Brahma achieved that on the 18th. And this is why there are 18 chapters in the Gita. The Arjun, he starts off understanding. They depict that Arjun says to Krishna, how can I fight? These are my uncles. These are my gurus. These are my relatives. And Ranjan Ben always reminds us that Brahma Baba used to share that in early days, he had this visionary experience of flying. He was flying up to Baba. He enjoyed the bliss. And then he remembered his relatives. And he said it was like an aeroplane crashing down again. And so Arjun starts off with this, how can I let go? And of course, this is bhakti, so it's all in a battlefield situation, and it all becomes very confusing, really. So Krishna is saying, Arjun, these are not your relatives. See them as souls, and then you can fight against them. But of course, Baba doesn't teach us to fight anyone. And really, what Baba is saying is, destroy the vices. That your battle is with the vices. And so, attachment is this final one. And sometimes when we use the word attachment, it seems quite big, like our attachments. It's quite a big thing. But I appreciated this word Baba used just now in the Morali, association.
Mm.
Because a subtle form of attachment is association. Attachments form identities, you see. And so our identity is formed in associations. And so I shared with you a few weeks ago how there's one Morali, we'll try and remember the date and read it at some point. Well, Baba is meeting the brothers and he's recounting the story of Hanuman being captured in Lanka, deliberately being captured. And as a punishment, Ravan sets his tail on fire. And Hanuman jumps around Lanka and sets the whole of Lanka on fire, putting out his tail. And Baba says that that tail is attachment. It's for a yogi, we associate with our successes in Brahman life. And that has to go as well. That's the tail that will keep you hanging on to the branch. And so this is why the monkey is you depicted as the monkey with the tail hanging on to your branches. But you have to let go of that as well. You have to let go of all your branches. So Brahma creates the yajna. Shiv Baba creates the yajna with Brahma. But like Baba said, you have to surrender. everything. So Brahma's first surrender was of his old material. So he surrendered his old wealth, his old life. But then his final surrender had to be of his Brahmin life. He had to hand over even the yajna. And he had to just let everything go and just be. The angel doesn't have a body. So Baba said, being in the avyakt form, has service reduced? So since Brahma became an angel, service has accelerated. So the less that Bapdada have done, the more has been achieved. And so we have to learn from this. It's not the saying and the doing that achieves things, it's the being. And the Murli I was referring to this morning from 1997, I was sharing how it was the 30th anniversary celebration of many, like this group that maybe was in front of Baba in 69. It would have been around their 30 years in 97. And also some of the students from the 1960s, their 30, 40 years, like that. And Baba said to those Didis that you should now stop giving lectures. You be the might, and let the younger ones be the mics. Let them give the lectures, and you can just spend that extra time in yoga. And the more that Baba sees that we're moving forward, actually, the less he wants us to do. Because others can give, like, to give a lecture is not a big thing, is that anyone can give a good lecture, a good class, that's not a big deal. In fact, Baba prefers if non-BKs speak, because it gives more of an impact to the public than if a BK speaks. So Baba is guiding us to become Bab Saman. And both Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba have done less and less and less, and are achieving more and more and more. So let's follow both fathers. Did you want to come? Okay, shall we stop there? So thank you all. Interesting chit chat, got our intellects working. And also now, after our intellect got working on Kismet and Karma, Baba's taken us back into the essence again. Let's be the point, concentrate and focus. So this week, we all know what we've got to do. It's very, very clear. So let's focus on that and enjoy that practice of the hero and the zero.
Baba gave us lots of homework, but at the same time pointed out so many things for checking and changing inside, and about dharana, how to have dharana. So we practice that.
Happy new month, everyone. Happy November.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy November to everyone. And greetings to those of you on YouTube later as well. And Shanti, thank you for those of you who could attend live. That was always wonderful to have you and see you.
Thank you so much.
Shanti, thank you.
Thank you.
Shanti.